Okay. Okay, as you can see from the sign up above, leave it better than you found it. That's kind of an important little term we use in the shop. Leave it better than what you found it. That will work well. Talking today about the Bosch chop saw. Newer shop tool. It cuts great. It's built up on a decking because it has more movement. It goes out to 60 degrees on the side, and it's a compound miter saw, so we had to create a little more room so everything would fit. And it sets on 2 rails. The saw itself, we'll just talk about the basics of the saw and how it works. Your handle here, your trigger, is a pull, and you notice it doesn't work. You have a safety slide bar underneath, safety switch. Okay, it can go either way, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. It's ambidextrous. So when you bring this down, you have to slide that first, and then you can start the saw. So this is your safety for starting the saw. Engage, maintain it. Okay, so that's the easy part. This is a 0 clearance saw. I'm going to lock it down so you can see back here. This is an articulating arm on the back of this saw. You can see there's not much room between the wall, but yet you still have plenty of travel. So it works very, very well. It's very smooth. Okay, so you can leave it in this configuration when you're done, or you can leave it with the blade up. It doesn't really matter. And we're finding the long stuff inside it. Okay. All right, so on off, safety, works well. The other thing I'll talk about when we're on this side, this has a depth setting on it. So if you're coming down and you have a piece of material and you only want to cut so far through that material, you don't want to go all the way, you can take this right here, run this down, slide that out. Now you see it won't go any lower. So you can see where you would be taking your material off, and it only goes so far. So you can set the depth at anything you want. So it's not hard. If you don't want it, you just slide it in. Then the screw with the adjustment will go all the way down through, and you will go all the way to the bottom plate. Okay. This is adjustable. It's on a spring for tension. Can you get that? It's nice and clear. So you can see, that's easy. All right, locking the saw down is just push the red button. You want to take the saw and open it, pull the red button out, let it go up. Don't be here and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and just try to jerk it and let it go bouncing up like that. That's not a good thing. It's very bad on the spring. We've replaced the springs in the wall. So when you're here, just let it up. Just let it up. Okay, so that's this side of the saw. On this side of the saw, we have our control for our slide. This right back here, this red handle right here. All right, I'm going to put this down just so you can see better. So if I want the saw to travel in and out, I just push down on it, and there's the saw. You see how easy it moves. So it goes out 13 inches, makes nice cuts, okay? It works very smoothly. You're done, you want to keep it in, you just lock it back up. Again, down, slides out, up, is locked in place, will not move. Okay, easy, easy. Someone who uses saw didn't clean it very well after their last use. Okay, you have your gauge in the back. You have a gauge up here in the front. Everybody understands this stuff. This is all basic. This side goes out to 60 degrees. You can cut roof pitches. They got the different scales. You got your regular scale on the outside and the inside roof scales on the other side. As you can see. All right. For operating the saw, to turn the saw, this is a lock here. So you can loosen that so it's loose. Trigger's underneath. This allows me to move this out of the way. This allows you to move to wherever you want to be. You know, don't swing it and be going down, and then all of a sudden just let go of it and let it slam. You hear that click, it slams in. It's hard to adjust these gauges because if you look, when you look at the DeWalt's, you see that they have screws set in there. Now, they have an adjustment underneath, but it's a little hard to do. So, but if you're banging it all the time and you're banging into the locking hole, or wherever you want to be, because 45's got a D10 on it, 22.5's got a D10 on it. You got different D10s going through here, but you just drop it, just be easy with it. Pull it up, get it in there close, and then drop it in, okay? It'll keep this plate from moving. Don't be afraid to check it though to make sure it's square, and whenever you're using the saw, remember to pull the plug, and then take a square and you can check it. Make sure everything's good. Cycles both ways. Okay, shouldn't be a problem. It gets close here, and we'll talk about more about that in just a second. The gauges that we have on here, we have them set really close. Again, check it with a square to make sure it's right for you. If you want to work the tilt for the back, you just raise this up. Now our saw goes from side to side. And if you turn your levers, it all works well. Then you can go either way. You have a knob here on the side. You have for left and for right. You just twist it. This would be loose. And you just turn it left and right. Okay, now, the problem is, because of the size and the cabinets and everything around us, is we don't have a lot of room. So we have a pin back here. Let me catch this. Down in the back, there's a pin. See the pin? Okay, with this pin, we pull this pin out. Now we slide the whole saw out. So it's on that little track we were talking about. Once you pull it all the way out, you take the same pin and push it back in. There you go. Now, with this in there, you see the pin? Okay. And you can see that someone didn't clean up well underneath the saw. Okay. Now, so you have your travel. So you can come out and you have your angles for adjustment. So you can lay it one way or the other, you know. It works very well. And you can be doing everything at the same time. So when you need to do a compound miter, you would have the saw moved out to the outward position. If you're not doing compound miters, of course you're just doing just a miter, you can leave it in. You have plenty of room to do it in there. And again, you just pull the pin out, slide the saw back. When it comes up against the stop, you drop the pin in, and you take another. And you're good to go. Set your 0 on the saw, and you're right back where you started. It's not hard. Some people get a little worried about it, but it's not. There's your hold down. You want to put on a piece of wood, works well. This changes from one side to the other side, so as you know. Again, this is all pretty standard from what you're used to. We don't want to cut off the fences. So the fence adjustment's there, so when you're doing compound miters or even miters, make sure you open up the fence enough and set it up so you wouldn't be out there making a lot of noise. Okay, what do we got? This on, you made your cuts, you made your miters, resetting the fences like I was just saying a second ago. Make sure you kind of put them back in a reasonably right position for the next person who's going to come along and use the saw. Don't try to leave it all kind of out of whack. You don't have to square it again, but try to get your gauges where you have your numbers. Try to make sure everything's working here. There's a little red stop down here in the bottom and the back. This pulls in and out. It's on a spring. This goes to 33.9 and it drops right in. And like if you were cutting crown molding, something like that, you could lay the crown molding flat in the saw and put your cut on it, and this works good at 33.9. So it's pretty simple. It's easy to use. Again, runs really smooth. Just be smart about it. Make sure you have things set up the right way. Make sure you have your fences in the right positions. And for those that like to come in there with these little challenging pieces of wood, and you want to cut some small piece of wood, you want to do something like that with a piece of wood, I don't recommend using little tiny pieces of wood. But imagine this being maybe a little bit bigger would be nice. Okay? So this spacer bar that we're going to chop up, which people do cut them up, by the way, you can hold it down with one up, one down. You know, you can see that it doesn't fit well some ways, or you turn it in for in, but you can keep your hand away from the blade. Okay? You can keep your hand away from the blade. Any way you'd like to do it. So don't be sticking your fingers in there close. I don't recommend small pieces of wood. You know, minimum material length, 6 inches without a clamp. You know, don't find something very minute and stick it in there just to see if you can cut it. That's not what we want to be having. So this is right up here. Works well. As far as the saw, if you have any questions, you can contact anybody on the board, anybody on the maintenance team. There's a lot of people here that have a lot of skills. I try to reinforce that at all our meetings that, you know, we want to talk to our senior people in here because they've been around a long time, know a lot of things, can help you out with a lot of things, know some of the quick ways to get around things to make it work better for you, make life easier for you. So don't be afraid to ask questions. The only way you're going to learn is to ask questions. So I spent some time with a person the other day that was having problems with the router. And the problem was that back when they started, they didn't get quite enough training with how that worked, and they were really worried about their fingers, which is an important piece. But we want to make sure they're trained properly, and if they need help, go reinforce whatever they've learned. If it needs to be modified a little bit, you can do that too. But give them the time, don't rush them so that they're not thinking they have to rush when they're on a piece of equipment. Again, you'll enjoy this saw. It works very smoothly. And call us, contact us, email us, find us in the shop. Any way you want to get a hold of somebody for help, we're available. I'm available. We'll help you with anything that we can. If I can't answer the question for you, I will put you with the person that can answer that question. We'll all depend on each other in here a little bit, so it works well. But enjoy this saw. Make sure you clean up. The last thing I'm going to talk about is this hose that comes down here from the vacuum system. Now, this hose just slides in this elbow right here. Can you see it better there? Yeah. All right, this comes in the elbow. There's been a conversation about what we can use this hose to clean up. Yeah, you can use this hose to clean up somewhat. It's on a small retractable tether, okay? So when the dust system is running, this is on the main dust system, you can use this to clean up in here. This is a rubber boot. It works well. You can do both sides. Don't be stretching it out, trying to get over here to another machine or get down there on the floor. It's only meant for just around the saw area in here close. It's not meant for everything else. Don't be retightening anything over here. Don't push it all the way through the elbow. It snaps in, you hear it click. It's easy to use, but then you still got to clean this area out here when you're done. You got to clean out here, so we still have our regular vac that does a good job at that. So All that being said, make sure you clean out on the back. I should point this out to you, because I'm seeing it right now again. On the inside of the arm where they have all the grooves, they have the ridges for the reinforcing to create the strength enough. You can see all the crud back in here. So you want to use the vacuum and clean that out when you get done each time, so that when that dust blows up in there. I usually lock it in the stowed position, and if somebody wants to use it for something that's wider than normal, they can do it. So again, Bosch, it's a good saw, works well. Need help? Contact us, we'll be glad to help you out. Again, stay safe, enjoy your woodworking. Thank you.